Hey everybody, thanks for coming. This panel is Rifts and the Future of Palladium. There will be a future.
Yeah.
That's all. Thanks for coming.
Someone said they thought it sounded ominous, and I was like, no, it's not supposed to sound ominous at all.
Rifts is the future. Let's get
Well, and one of the reasons, something I want to mention is the reason I brought Sean on. Well, there are many reasons that I brought Sean into the company as my 50-50 business partner, and we've become close friends since then. Is that there will be a future of Palladium, regardless of what happens to me. You know, I plan on being around. Like a lot of people, when I brought Sean on, they're like, "Oh, now he's retiring." And I'm not retiring.
It was not the deal. It was not the deal.
You know, I hope to be writing for a long, long time. But
We've got like 10 books, Kev.
by bringing in Sean, you know, I'm hoping that I can go from writing like 40 or 50% of the time to like 80 or 90% of the time and get you guys more books that you guys all want. So,
That's part of the reason why we've brought on people like Chris Landauer and others behind the scenes to help out. Chris is a huge help with, I worked with him a lot at Pinnacle Entertainment Group while I was working on.
but don't hold that against him.
I got the Rifts shirt on today.
Right. But yeah, no, he jumped in to help out when he saw that, I mean, we'd worked together on a bunch of Kickstarters for Savage Rifts, and when he saw that Ninja Turtles is just blowing up, thank all of you, he jumped in and said, hey, do you guys need a hand? And he gave us a very, very reasonable price. And we said yes, and then he was very helpful.
Yeah,
so
very
we
helpful.
said, would you like to help more? And he sent us an 18-page bulleted list. And we said, okay. So, but no, that's the whole point of what we're doing is trying to, you know, streamline our processes, get things lined up so that we can, you can get a lot of cool Palladium books in the future for a long time to come, like Kevin said.
And for those of you who backed the TMNT Kickstarter, those books will give you a glimpse of what we're looking to head towards.
Yeah,
more
preview.
hardcovers, more color books, cleaner, slicker layout, you know, cleaner, more organized rule sets, the whole 9 yards. So we got a ton of things that are planned, and I think you're gonna like all of them.
Yeah, and everything is kind of baby steps. You know, I don't know how many you got like Titan Robotics. I don't know.
Yeah.
Raise your hand. All right, cool. So, you know, there were some things that we did in this that were intentional, and there's some stuff that I suddenly realized I was breaking new ground. But, you know, we've got a nice rear index here.
You do have a nice rear.
Thank you. But also, this book has chapters, which I didn't realize was like something new. But, you know, Palladium's always had like sections, you know, but discrete chapters was something a little different. But yeah, we're looking to bring, the layout should feel familiar, but also just a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to read. The funny thing is Kevin was laying out books by hand using the old paste up board method and all that. And when I studied graphic design, I was in the Air Force after I got out of the military. I studied visual design, and you know, we talked about the stuff Kevin used to do and how hard it was, and we did a few things with that. So I know just a smidge of how difficult that is and what a very tactile skill it is. But the cool thing is when I was working on Titan Robotics and when I was working on Minslaw Jungles, the second edition, I did the layout on that. I was looking at the original one that Kevin had pasted up, and I was like, Kevin, you're doing the same thing I'm doing with the line spacing and the paragraph spacing, and it was just kind of neat. I know it sounds like super nerdy on the graphic design side, but that's the kind of thing that's kind of cool, is to carry on that legacy. And you know, sometimes when things shift from like a physical process to a digital one, a little bit of that can get lost in the shuffle, right? And nothing against Wayne Smith, he's been doing a great job, but I'm glad that we can bring a lot more of.
Yeah, and go back to the more airy style.
Yeah, we both like a more airy style for the books, so it's just easier to read and parse through. I'm a real big fan of like 1 to 2 page layouts, keeping it real clean like that. I'm a little OCD on that, but anyways, you'll see that with Turtles, with the Redux edition of that. But yeah, we just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been coming out for Rifts. A lot of people this has been like a slow burn, like the sleeper hit, Coalition Manhunters, and I think part of it comes from the Manhunters licensed property, right?
Yeah, we had licensed it to a third party in the past. They called it Rifts Manhunters. And this is a completely different book, but a lot of people went, oh, I have Rifts Manhunters. Like, no, this is Coalition Manhunters for Rifts. And it was a mistake to call it that, but should have called it something else. But people are finally just discovering it, because one of the cool things about that, it's really like a coalition book. And it talks about, you know, the side division and the secret minded police and all kinds of cool things about the coalition. It's more of a, it almost should have been called Secrets of the Coalition, because that's pretty much what it is. And people are starting to discover it, and it's really starting to take off. But, you know, we want to do a lot of stuff like that, and I think a lot of you already know this, but both of our agendas is to start getting you the books that you've been waiting for years. Like, you know, Rifts Bestiary 2, the two Beyond the Supernatural books. Yeah, a lot of people have been waiting for those, Beyond Arcanum and Tomes Grotesque. You know, we want to get the Disavowed out, we want to get Rifts Antarctica out.
Yeah, to give you a little bit of, I guess, a kind of timeline, without specific times, I guess, but a progression path, okay? You know, Kevin's finishing up Yensloth Expeditions, which is because Yensloth Jungles blew up when they were doing the second edition version of it, so it's now 2 books. And the passing of Kathy Simmons did delay that a little bit,
Yeah.
but we were hoping to have it here for Gen Con, but we appreciate everyone's patience with that. Yeah, with that, once he's finished with the Yensloth Expeditions, we've already got, I think, virtually all of the art for
Rifts
Antarctica done, including the
and while I'm working on that, he'll be working on Rifts Bestiary 2.
Yeah, so Bestiary 2, yeah, so Kevin will be finishing that up, and then the next thing on his docket is going to be Beyond Arcanum for Beyond the Supernatural, and Tomes Grotesque, so the magic and the monster book for that series. On the way there, as soon as I get the final layout stuff for the Ninja Turtles off to them, they're trying to catch up with me, their approval process.
Yeah,
Paramount and Nickelodeon. But once all that's to them, very soon, we've already got basically all the art. I have to write like one more monster for Bestiary 2, and I'll be putting that into layout and getting that to you guys. And after that, we're already well into Bestiary 3 production. So hopefully we'll see that very soon. Hopefully before the end of the year. I don't like to do timelines. But I just want to tell you guys that's what we're looking at. Yeah, that's a lot of Rifts books. Really.
Well, and that's just some of the immediate stuff. I mean, we got all kinds of huge plans for Rifts, for Palladium Fantasy, for Heroes Unlimited,
Beyond Supernatural.
Beyond the Supernatural, that you guys are just going to go, holy moly. And you know, we're just kind of leading up to it. We have a 5-year business plan, and like getting the Ninja Turtle license is like phase 2.
Yep.
We have a bunch of stuff that we're looking at. We're looking at a couple other licenses that you guys would really like, but our main focus is going to be, like I said, getting you the books that we've talked about for years, and you know, and then we're just gonna take off and do all kinds of stuff, and we're exploring all kinds of possibilities. You know, a lot of times we don't like to tell you everything we're doing because they fall through a lot of times.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking to people with licenses.
Yes.
You know, so for example, if I said, hey, we're looking into getting Macross 2 and doing a Redux edition, and if that falls through, you'll be shattered.
So he didn't say that.
But we did, so we didn't say that.
I mean, it took us 9 months, well, actually 10 months, to hammer out the Ninja Turtles deal with Nickelodeon Paramount.
Yeah, we started talking with them in January, and that first meeting went great.
Everybody wanted to make a deal.
Yeah, and we're like, I don't know how familiar you are with the Turtle books, and our main guy that we're dealing with, Jeff Whitman, is like, are you kidding me? I've got the whole collection right behind me in my shelf. And we're like, cool.
Great.
And Paramount / Nickelodeon has been really great to work with, because for a big company, it's really rare that these guys, at least the people we're working with, really know and respect the fan base. So there's lots of things. For example, with the Kickstarter, it was Jeff Whitman who suggested we do Black, White, and Red edition. And as we thought about it, we're like, yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, it's
There's a
not
lot of people
too
who
much
like
about
that.
turtles.
No, but that's just an example of, you know, the kind of thing that happens. But this stuff takes forever. So we thought we were going to have a contract. We foolishly thought, hey, could we have the turtle books done and do our Kickstarter in like spring of last year and have the turtle books out in time for Gen Con? And, you know, 10 months later, it's like, I guess not. But, you know, there's just a lot of little nuances. You know, when you're dealing with those kind of big companies, they don't get our industry a lot. They don't understand Kickstarter. They don't understand a lot of things.
Well, you tell them
And it
500
just takes
pages of
time.
material.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? To go through, and it's not like a comic book. So
You know, and then stuff happens, you know, life happens and gets in the way, and he had COVID for like 6 months, and,
yeah.
you know, that slowed things down, and just a lot of things you just can't anticipate. But behind the scenes, we are bringing in other people, we're bringing in more freelancers. We've got Matthew Clements working on a secret project that you guys are gonna love.
Yep.
It was his idea, and we're like, oh yeah, it's the one genre, one of the few genres we don't have. You know, why don't you go for it, and
yeah.
we'll see if we like it, and we like it. So that'll be fun. You know, we've got a bunch of artists lined up. In fact, I had 3 artists just today walk up to me and go, Kev, we talked like a year ago. When are you gonna bring me on board, man? I wanna do this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we're kinda like catching up with backlog. But, you know, we've got all kinds of really cool stuff planned for the future. And at some point, we'll be opening this up to questions. If you have questions about specific things, we're happy to answer those the best we can.
Yeah, just to go over the Rift side of Rifts in the Future of Palladium books. So Coalition Manhunters, Titan Robotics. I think, is everyone familiar with that? Do I need to do a primer? Okay, I don't think I need to. So, you know, but again, Thought Police, Coalition Thought Police, and Secret Psychic Assassins directly working for the Emperor. Titan Robotics, you've got big Archie level conspiracy, as well as all the cool power armor robots and weapons from that manufacturer. We've actually been really surprised. People really love the Cyberworks collection. We put it together as something that we really wanted to bring to the fans that were new to Rifts and wanted to kind of catch up with the lore and make it for collectors something easy. If you're we have a lot of people that contact us. I'm rebuilding my collection. Everything got destroyed in a flood or something like that, or my girlfriend burned them all, or whatever. Yeah, it happens. Apparently, not just one person. You know, multiple a year, I think. But yeah, so that one we actually had to send in for reprints. But it's a lot of fun. It's great to see how much the fans love this classic stuff. It was really fun to remaster all of it. I enjoyed it, and again, it was fun looking at Kevin's original layout as I was going through, like, say, the mechanoids and seeing, oh yeah, man, I really like that style. It's really cool and really fun to work with, and we've been really excited about how the fans receive that. We will be doing more like that by popular request when we do Rifts Antarctica. We plan on doing a Smoothworth collection. So thank you, fans, for those ideas. As well as one thing I will mention, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of something called Rifts for Savage Worlds, but I worked on that a bit. Now I'm no longer the line manager for that. I just work on it now from the licensor side, working with them to coordinate what we're putting in the books and approvals and stuff. But there's a lot of great material out there. We just did a crowdfunder, I think it was at the very beginning of last year, I think that was it. So for The Land of a Thousand Islands, which is their South America 1 and 2 book. But one of the things, if you're a big Rifts, canon fan of the story, we updated the timeline. It's all official. to 109 PA. So you can see what's been happening and transpiring in South America over that time period, including expanded lore and background for the Megaversal Legion. We also have Terror on the Dark Frontier, which is the first boxed adventure campaign for Rifts. It has maps, it has a book for, it all takes place in the coalition territories around Oklahoma and Kansas. And so you can go interact with the Comanche Preserve and the Coalition Frontier, and go to different locations in a book that's all about the different areas and adventures you can have there. And then there's also a straight through storyline plot point campaign that you can play in. Really proud of that one as well. We really had a lot.
Right now, there's a Kickstarter backer kit for reprints of the core.
Oh, that's right. There's also a
Want to save on
reprint for the
shipping
core
and
books.
get the core books. It's
Yeah.
a backer kit right now.
And they're including some rules updates that we worked on as well from fan feedback. So
Yeah, so the cool thing about the Savage World stuff, yes, is a different rule set, but the adventures, the maps, the adventure ideas, the hooks, the new villains and characters,
Plot lines and
the plot lines, that you can easily, whether you play their system or our system, you can easily use that material for both. And they're very worthwhile. It's good stuff. You know, as Sean said, we do approve everything
All new
that
art.
they send us.
lots of new art, yeah. And I did an article in Rifter 85. We can also download it for free from Pinnacle on DrivethruRPG about how to use the Savage Worlds adventures with your Palladium rules. So it's not hard. It's pretty easy, but you know, read through that. There's a few little things. Once you know what some of the different terms mean, some of the difference between the systems, it's really easy. Oh, okay, we need to fight this many coalition grunts and a sergeant and a Samus. Okay, I'm gonna pull out the Palladium rules for that, right? It's pretty simple. But that's been exciting, and also they're working on the Europa book. So again, Savage Rifts is more of a high-level approach to a lot of stuff. But we've been Kevin and I have been working with them to fill in a lot of the blanks of what some of the different factions are like and what the timeline is like in 109 PA, all across Europe and the Mediterranean and North Africa, including like with the Phoenix Empire. So yeah, it's cool stuff, and it's all Rifts. So we hope you all enjoy that too. That if you can't get enough, you know, if you run through all the adventures here and all the material,
Like 90 Rifts books. And so that's out of the picture, but that doesn't mean other things could not happen. We're regularly courted by Hollywood to develop this or that. And again, we never mention it because it often falls through, and usually not because of anything we're doing, just they couldn't get the big money guys to back the idea, or
it doesn't sound like it's a good fit, like they're going to change things too much. That happens
you know,
sometimes.
so yeah, for sure. So, you know, for example, we were approached by Christopher Columbus at one point. We were approached by Brad Payton, who did Rampage. We were approached by Joe Manganiello, who really tried hard to get Netflix to pick it up as a streaming series. You know, there's been a bunch of things that have gone on over the years that you guys know nothing about because they never went through fruition. But, you know, we're open to everything. Same thing with video games. You know, the thing is, we can't do a video game ourselves. It's not our area of expertise.
Well,
and these days it's good.
Mine, but
but, you know, we don't have the $20 million budget to do.
or the 20, 30 person staff.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually studied design and production for video games and animated movies when I went back to school after the military.
So,
But
you know,
I know more about books, way more about doing RPGs now, but than that.
But, you know, a third party approaches us, we're always open. I mean, for example, again, stuff you guys don't know about is at one point, BioWare approached us back in their heyday. And they were like, we're looking at 3 possible projects, and Rifts is one of them. We're like,
Yeah.
and they went with something else. You know, we before THQ went out of business, we were talking to them about doing a video game. You know, the Rifts Promise of Power for Nokia, the game was amazing, and you know, they bungled the release of the N-Gage and that whole project, and like, our game came out on like a Wednesday, and on Thursday they announced they would no longer be supporting the N-Gage. So guess how well our game did. And it's a shame because it was our game, Rifts Promise of Power. They had spent more money on it and more time developing it than any of the other games. And it had like 200 major games. I mean, Call of Duty, Spider-Man, X-Men, everything. And you know, it had like 200 games. And we had a guy who loved our stuff, and they brought me into the studio that was developing it. And they fell in love with me. I guess I was told later after I left, they're like, we have to make this great for Kevin. You know, they even slipped me in there as like some merchant scholar in the game. That was cool. And then I met the head of Nokia, like the frickin' president of Nokia at E3. And he's like, I like this man. Next time we have a meeting in Finland, you bring him. And I'm like, okay. But you know, things never went anywhere. I mean, I was part of their European tour, so I mean, I was in England, France, Italy, and Spain briefly, and that was pretty awesome. And things were looking really good, and then, you know, who could predict that whole platform just didn't take off. So I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that we've done.